Hey, hey, infinite beings. Good to see you again.
Hello.
So I'm Nat, and there's Mandy over the other side of the world in Australia. I'm in KL, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and we're coming to you. We're from the Infinite Me, and we're talking all about living and breathing and playing in.
And Nat has frozen in infinite land. See if she's going to come back. Oh. Okay, I'm not quite sure if she's going to come back or not. We'll just wait a second to see if the signal gets any better. Unfortunately, you would think that a country like Malaysia would have really good internet, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So.
Okay, that just killed our signal. That was good. Okay, we're back.
We're back again? Okay.
We're back, sorry.
That's all right.
We have a SIM card in Malaysia that no one has, and somehow somebody rang us.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's gone again.
Dropping in and out. Okay, we'll make this quick because this signal. I'm at Starbucks. I'm not actually in some seedy nightclub, although I sound like I'm in a jazz club. It's really bad internet here at Starbucks.
I'm just sharing that.
Yeah. So today, I just want to have a quick chat about the fact that we're always infinite, and this has come up for me over the last few days, and I've
me too.
Oh, that's interesting. And then I got an email today, or so did you, Mandy, from one of our dear friends and really cool guy, 𝘾𝙤𝙚 𝙤𝙚, who from Be Free, and he's been talking about the same thing, funnily enough. That's what the email said today. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's time to talk about this. So, yeah, I think it's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking that, oh, I'm back in my ego, you're back in the story. And sometimes you're really aware of the fact that you're back in the story and you're getting caught up in all the emotional and all that sort of stuff. And to think that I can't tap back into my infinite self right now, like I'm way out of the infinite zone, as if you're like in the infinite zone and then you're in the ego zone. So you're backwards and forwards type thing. And I think even I'm just realizing that too right now, is that no, that's not actually the case. There's always that infinite ability and capabilities running underneath everything. And all we're doing, and I think Amir put it quite elegantly, is you're just having a human experience. He talks about the ocean and the drop. So we're always the ocean, and then we have an experience of being the drop. So that separated one, part, your self type thing, human self. And but we are just having a human experience, but we've always got that undercurrent of that infinite there whenever we want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you said, it's almost like we forget that connection sometimes when we get caught up in the story, as if, like what you said, as if it's two separate things, but it's like it's not. But like it's the thing that the infinite part of ourselves, like, which is the consciousness of everything that we're seeing in front of us, that we're, is just flowing through us in this human body. That's always there. That is I guess what religion kind of hints at, that omnipresence. Of everything. It's just always there in the background. It never goes away. Otherwise, I guess we wouldn't exist here in this human form if it did go away. Like when you think about it, it's kind of like it's what's actually giving us form.
Can't do without it.
It's kind of like breathing almost. It's like, well, it's just there. But we get stuck in that ego, like you said. It's like, oh, I've got to be present again. I've got to get present. I've got to get tapped back into that feeling again. It's just like, well, you always are. You can't not be. And it's a bit like I just thinking of a concept that Robert Scheinfeld talks a bit about. This he calls about cloud cover, and cloud cover is like if you think of like a bright shining sun, and you get all these clouds that move across it, and we kind of go, oh, the sun's not out today. And it's just like, well, is that actually really true? Like it's kind of just some cloud that's come across the sun. The sun never is not there. Like the sun is always shining. If you think of the sun as our infinite self, if you like that source of everything that's flowing behind, like it never, even when it's nighttime, supposedly, it's like the sun is actually still there. Like it's just we're just in the shadow. We're not getting the sunlight at the moment. So it's like it is that concept that it never is not there. And we just have to kind of remind ourselves more and more until we come to know that as ourselves, that we are the one expression, but just coming through a human form right now, having that experience, as you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's comforting, isn't it? Like when you really do get that concept, that becomes really comforting to know that, okay, I might feel a bit out of it right now, but it is there.
Yes.
I don't have to stress and panic and all that sort of stuff, because I think I know that I've done that where I sort of like, I have to tap back in. That's my big thing. Like I have to tap back in.
Plug back in,
And I think a lot of people do that to like in different ways sort of thing. It's like you might go and I've got to meditate, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that, or I've got to dance or express myself. I've got to write stuff down so I can get it out of my head, and then I'll tune back in and be more present, all that sort of stuff. So, and they're all good practices. I'm not saying that at all. Like that's in that moment, that feels true for you to do that. But it's sort of, I think I've always equated that to I'm either in ego or I'm in the infinite. And I don't think I've ever sort of really gone, oh no, it's actually already there.
Yeah,
like,
they're not two separate things, as you said. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And
I like what you said about we couldn't not be without it. Like that is the giver of life type thing. Like if that got suddenly taken away, then none of this even would exist right now.
Yeah. Like that's what's animating everything right now. So it's
powering everything. Yeah, so the whole thing would just disappear into a poof, or move back all as just energy, like the whole reality wouldn't even exist. And it's like, oh, that's actually like a really good way of thinking about it. Visualizing that.
And I think everything you just shared about all those practices that we tap into, like meditation or journaling or sitting out in nature, whatever those things are, I think they're all fantastic ways of it's kind of reframing, I guess, how you look at it, because I would say that too, like, oh yeah, I'm tapping back in, or I'm grounding myself, or whatever phraseology you want to kind of use. But it is that, it's almost like it's that coming back home to yourself and reminding yourself who you actually are. That's actually the truth of what you're doing. It's like it's like you've just kind of temporarily forgotten who you were because you got stuck in the ego story. So, but it's never, you were never not that. It was always there, but it's almost like you're just having that remembrance again and coming back to that feeling. And the more you keep doing that and remembering, it becomes more of your natural way of being in the world, which is everything that we're kind of talking about. What we want to do with this project, I guess, is like, how do you be that way? How do you embody this so that it is just your knowing? You walk around having an infinite experience, knowing yourself as that one and playing with everything that's coming through in this life. You can never not be that.
Yeah, and I guess that's it. Like we talked about yesterday, is when you come to that knowing, then it is just play. Like you don't need to be getting anything or doing anything necessarily, because you are already everything. Like you have everything available to you whenever you want it. So it's like, oh, well, what's left to do? It's like, well, you could just play. Like,
and then it's having that appreciation for everything that's showing up in your story as well. So you get to play with everything. And then if something feels like a bit of a, I don't know, have a bit of contrast come up, I guess, to kind of show you perhaps where you still have some power hidden in something. That's literally all it is. It's just having appreciation for everything that is coming up in your experience. So however your ego wants to judge that as good or bad, but it's just literally showing you where there is still some power that you're putting outside of yourself, still not seeing yourself as the source of everything. So I think we touched on that a couple of videos ago, just sort of saying it is that just bringing that awareness to that thing that's going on and the judgment that you have around it, but not just sitting with that feeling and sort of letting it merge back into you as the one energy, because it is just that. It's just an experience moving through your body. And it's only the ego story that jumps in that makes us want to feel separate, and feels like, and then we feel like we're not part of the infinite anymore. And somehow we feel like we're having this really limited experience and we've got to micromanage it all. And
we're on our own.
Yeah, we're on our own, basically. Exactly what you just said. Yeah. That's probably like the crux of the whole ego thing, is like, I'm on my own and I have to do everything. Whereas that's so far from the truth. It's just like, it's complete opposite of that. That's the whole point of this game, I suppose, of being here, is that we came here to play this limitation game and completely forget who we were, so that we can rediscover that we're the one infinite energy that's animating everything. So everything is just an experience to reclaim that knowing, and moving back into that space and playing with it all, as you said. And
I feel like I'm still really integrating that as well, embodying that. Like it is that sense. Like I drift into it quite quickly with the I'm on my own type thing. Like I'm in it before I even realize it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's so automatic.
work this out, you know. And even I'm not getting any help from the outside world, you know. Like Jodie may not be helping me, or I'm finding it hard to deal with, you know, I don't know, whatever you're dealing with type thing at the time. And it's like, oh, God, like, okay, there's like this battle, struggle type thing. Like, and it's so easy to drift back into it again. Like that feeling of, and then you stop and you go, oh, okay, I feel like I'm on my own again. Like I'm just having to do it all myself, sort all this out.
It is a journey. It is a journey. It's like, I think we've said it before, it's just like if everything just automatically came to you and manifested the second you thought about it, and it's just like, well, there wouldn't actually be a lot of fun, really, when you think about it. Like it might be fun for like a few days or something, but then after that, it would get a little bit boring.
Like Genie.
It's just like if literally you did that. Imagine if you did that with absolutely everything in your life. You sort of think, okay, after a while, it's not really that much fun anymore. Like a game is fun because there's usually a bit of challenge involved, and there's a bit of like you got to push yourself outside your comfort zone a bit, and yes, there's fun. You know, there is fun absolutely as part of it as well. But it's just like there is some like benefit to having a little bit of a challenge to kind of push yourself through as well. And that's how you get really creative. Like so if everything just manifested the second it popped into your head, it's just like it's not really that creative, really, is it? Like you don't get to play with it very much. So it's
so true, isn't it? Like when you watch a movie and stuff, like do you think of the hero's journey that every movie goes on type thing? It's like, and a big part of that is you can only be a hero in the end if you've had challenge somewhere along your journey type thing. And you come out triumph on the end. And you can just imagine watching a movie where everything just goes really nicely through the entire movie. Like, you know, everything works out for people, everyone gets on with each other. Like you're sitting there going, and
I mean, you'd probably walk away with a nice feel good feeling. But imagine if every single movie you watched was like that. It'd be kind of like, it's sort of, there is something about having that. And if you think about your own life, I guess the challenges that you've gone through, most people look back and kind of go, I would never change my experience, because it brings you to where you are, like, and the insights that you have, and the more you move through those, you know, perceived challenges, like you come home to yourself, like you do know who you are more and more, like you do know the truth of who you are eventually. That's the whole, well, I mean, some people won't, I guess, but that's kind of, I think the people that are watching us are kind of, you know, we've definitely been on this journey of like knowing that there's something more to everything going on. Like just know there's a higher power behind, you know, it's just like there's such an ingenious kind of creativity to life when you think about how it just interacts and how, you know, supposed coincidences happen and things like that. You just sort of think, wow, like what is this energy that's behind all of this? Like, and when you sort of sit with that and kind of go, that's actually who I truly am as well. Like I am actually that energy, and I'm coming through this human person. I'm having this really finite experience right now with this really limited point of view and limited skill set, if you like, compared to maybe what other people come into this world with. And it's like, but you get to interact with that. You're the one that's animating everything. You're the director and the writer and the choreographer, like we sort of said the other day. It's like you're every single part of it, which is hard to kind of get your head around, definitely. Like I'd sort of sit with what you're saying, that too, is it's like you come and go out of it. It's not, for me, it's not like an every single second moment thing that I sit in that knowing. It's becoming more and more, definitely. So it's it's easier to see now when you drift out of that space and kind of go, oh, like, you know, silly me, kind of thinking I'm limited and I don't have any help or assistance kind of around me, like, and bring yourself back into that energy of, being the sun, if you like using that as the analogy, like of the sun is there to power everything.
And I think it, like when you really sit and contemplate, and maybe this is an exercise for all of us to do, the coordination that goes on, like of the 7 or 8 billion people on the planet right now, and all of nature and everything else that's here on the planet, somehow or another, all of it gets coordinated, that everyone gets exactly what they need in every moment. Interact with each other, don't interact with each other, do things, don't do things, like all this stuff. And we're all changing that scene every single moment. and somehow or another it all coordinates that we all get exactly the reflections we're meant to get in that moment. I was like, that's just extraordinary. Like, it's so beyond what you could even fathom. Like, that's the infinite. I was like, that's how powerful it actually is.
Yeah, it's just that the creativity that goes into that is pretty mind-blowing, as you said. And then to sit with that and know yourself, like, but not your physical body. That's the thing. We kind of sit here and kind of go, oh, me, I'm that energy. And you kind of, it's easy to kind of fall into that feeling of, but I'm just this little person, like, you know, in a body, like, that's not me. But like, yeah, we're not talking about the me that's this little body, you know, the infinite me, like the name of like our project that we've got here. It's like it's talking about that bigger part of yourself. It's talking about the everything that's animates everything, the whole energy that's just talking about, like, that's what you truly are. And when you can really start to sit with that and let that awareness, and if you like, that's what you're actually truly capable of. That's how creative you actually are. It starts to shift how you show up in the world when you sort of think that you have this infinite creativity to play with, and you're not stuck in a limited little story. Like, that's the illusion. That's what you came here to play, that game, to experience yourself as that, but now to wake up to what you're actually truly capable of and play with it now. That's
the ultimate game, isn't it? Yeah, is to play with all of it, knowing who you really are and what you're capable of. Like, that's just so much fun. I'll tell a story.
And even the supposed limitations, like, play with the limitations. That's what they're there for. It's kind of like push against your limits, push them, see if they're true. Like, it's that kind of, you know, step out of your box, like, of what you think is true for you up until now in your story. It's just like, is that really true? Like, I don't know. Is it? Like, question it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And we've all had experiences of that feeling of the infinite. The most vivid one I ever had was, I don't know if I told you the story, man. When I went to watch the movie Inception, when it first came out, we were back in Sydney, and I went with two friends of mine, Kat and Peter, and so we watched the movie together. They were into all this stuff as well. We had a quick chat after the movie, and then they left. It was late at night. It was like a Sunday night or something. And I walked down to the car park, and I started to feel really weird. And I was like, oh. So I'm walking across the car park. I was really, like, there's no one around and stuff. And so I paid for my ticket. I got in the car. It was just, and this feeling was starting to come across me. I was like, this feels really strange right now. Like, okay. And I sort of just went with it, got in the car, and I drove out. And I started driving along the road back home. And it was like I'd just woken up inside my own dream. Like, literally. And I was just like, literally looking around going, holy crap, this is actually not real. Oh my God, this is like a dream. And I've just absolutely physically woken up inside it. And it was like a movie set. And so I'm just looking at everything like as what it was and just going, oh my God, like I looked at the traffic lights and I was just literally laughing at myself going, oh my God, they're like traffic lights. That's so weird. Like, it was the bizarrest feeling ever. And it lasted the whole night, like, until I fell asleep. And I was like, I kept saying to myself, I want to wake up like this too. Like, I want tomorrow to be like this, because it's just, there was just nothing. Like, there was nothing that was, and I think because I had done so much consciousness work type thing, like, I could actually really question it, and not question it, but take notice of things. It's like, oh, I'm not feeling like anything is a problem right now. Nothing in my life is a problem right now. Nothing could upset me. Would hurt me. Like, just, there was just this nothingness except play, and everything was hilarious. Like, that was the funny thing, because it was just like, how on earth did this even get here? Like, how's that even there? That's not even there right now. That's so funny. Like, I'm sitting at a red traffic light thinking that I'm supposed to be stopped. What if I do stop?
The rules that,
I know. It's like, that's not even real. Like, it was so bizarre. And it was the most vivid. Like, I've had in and outs, as everyone does, of the taste, I guess, of what it's like to be infinite and what it feels like. But seriously, that experience, the most vivid experience. I went for hours. Went home, had conversations. went to bed, like, and I just remember thinking, I want to wake up like this. I want to wake up like this. Like, please don't go. And sure enough, it was gone in the morning.
Yeah.
It's oh my God, it was just. I just said to myself, like, if that's what it's like to be infinite and really know your infiniteness in this playground here, it's like, that's freaking awesome. I'll do anything to get back to that feeling.
That's what I suppose that's what it is, isn't it? You've got a glimpse of what it actually is, and there's so many pointers around us. That's why I think movies are really cool, because they're the movies that you just really kind of something in them, like The Matrix or Inception, movies like that, Truman Show that we've talked about before. There's the other one called The Fifth Element, I think it's where I'm pretty sure that's kind of similar to what you said in terms of he gets transported in this, they come up with this like almost a time machine, if you like, if I've got the right movie. And he basically programs when he wants to go back to, and he goes back into the 1920s or something, and he basically wakes up and he's behind, like he wakes up like in a bank, and he's standing behind as a bank teller, and he's just automatically kind of going like, where the hell am I? Like, and someone's like demanding something, give me my change, mister, like, where is my change? Like, and then he's just like, what the hell is going on here? And he's like interacting in this 1920s, scenario, and he's just like looking at everything going, wow, like just total amazement and like awe at like the creations around him and like the cars that are going past on the road, and just the totally different sort of environment, I guess, to what he was used to, and sort of it is like exactly what you said, that sort of just wonder and curiosity about how the hell did this happen? Like, it's just so it is that space. I'm just thinking, I haven't had an experience that lasted as long as yours, but I definitely have had a couple of experiences where one time I was running a bath and I was about to jump in the bath, and I felt like I did jump in the bath, but I had this experience of actually watching myself. So it was like I was outside my body, like a few seconds behind, like, and it was like I was watching that happen, and then it disappeared as quickly, but it was kind of just like, well, that was like really like a time warp almost. It was like time sort of split or something, or there was like a parallel timeline going on. It's just like I was able to watch myself, and it was just like, okay, that was really bizarre. Like, it was kind of there was a sense it was real that it happened. Like, it was this real sense of like, that happened. Like, I didn't just imagine that. Like, I saw that. Like, it was kind of and another time I remember when Nat used to live in Neutral Bay in Sydney, and she lived on this apartment that was kind of literally over the water. And so you look out the window and the water was kind of lappy against the bottom of the building. And I remember sitting at the table one time at her place and kind of looking out the window, but next thing the wall just wasn't there. Like, and I was just seeing like the water, and I was just kind of like, I had to kind of do a double take, because it's kind of like, no, because there wasn't a window on that wall either. Like, it was this particular wall I looked at, there wasn't actually a window there, and I'd kind of but I saw the water, and I was just kind of like, I'm sure there's a wall there, but it was kind of like coming in and out. And then next thing, as soon as I sort of said, oh no, there was a wall there was a wall. Like, it was kind of like, it was just like this experience of kind of going, okay, because I assumed there was a wall there before, the wall fell into
created
form.
itself.
So it is that exact thing what they say in physics. It's like a wave can only become a particle when it's, I'm sure I could have this potentially wrong, but it only collapses into form when it's witnessed. They've done experiments when there is no observers to waves of energy happening, that they can be absolutely anything. There's infinite possibilities of what can happen with that waveform, but as soon as it's observed by somebody in reality, it collapses into some kind of form. So that's exactly what kind of happened, is just that sense of like, as soon as I thought there was a wall, there was a wall. And like I think Nat had said a couple of times in another video too, it's just like you get out of bed and you assume there's a floor there, so there's a floor. It's just that we've come to expect that, but I almost had a glimpse of like, maybe I was just so present in it, I don't even know what I was doing in that moment to kind of, I think we were going to Bob Scheinfeld's work at the time, which was kind of really questioning everything about everything being a game and an illusion and a magic trick. So I think it was definitely through that, and I just had all these little glimpses at the time, as like little hints of the truth, little pointers to kind of show you what's actually happening, what's possible. Yeah,
I think that's why this is like, these sorts of conversations every day are so important, because the more, and I remember that like when we did Bob Scheinfeld's course, which was 4 days, we were so absorbed into that work at that point that everything was shifting. Like you were having that sort of feeling of like the wall's not there, and then suddenly looking and it wasn't there, and was like, okay, how does that work? But it's like it shows up more the more you tune into this stuff, and
Yeah,
the more
exactly.
you talk about it, and the more you feel into it, and the more you think about it, and the more vibrational like energy you're on that plane sort of thing, where anything is possible because you're always tuned into that. Like even just us starting this whole project, you know, like a month or two back,
Yes.
having these conversations. What is it today? Day 22. So we've had 22 days of talking about this stuff with these sorts of conversations, and there's so much has changed in that time.
Yeah, it has actually. Yes.
Everything shifted. My feeling about myself, the feeling about my life, and the people in it, and all that sort of stuff has all shifted. You know, even Jody said, "Well, you're actually really changed. Like I've actually noticed how much you've changed in the last 3 weeks of doing these conversations." And it's like, that's it. It's anyone can do this. It's all about tuning in all the time. Like, so if these conversations are helping people tune in just by even watching it, then that's freaking awesome, because it means that more of us are really moving into this space now of feeling into this stuff and actually seeing evidence of it more and more. And you will see more and more evidence of it.
The more you put your attention on it.
Kooky, crazy stuff. Yeah, if you're looking for it, then you'll see it. Yeah. And maybe it's always been happening and we just never saw it.
Yeah.
But now we're tuning in.
I'm just thinking of like when you say you have a moment of deja vu, it's just like, is that deja vu or is that actually a little blip in the matrix program, if you like? Yeah, it's kind of like if you have the same experience twice, it's just like that could happen, obviously, but it is like we kind of write it off and just kind of go, oh, you know, that was really bizarre, but not really think much about it. It was just like, what if that was a little glimpse into the, you know, into an alternative reality kind of thing? Yeah, just sort of showing you that there's all these parallel things kind of going on at the same time, but we just have this tunnel vision on our life and we think that's it, like, and think whatever we're looking at is real and that's it. It's fixed, finite, can't change it, sort of thing. And it's just like, well, what if it wasn't? Like,
and that our reality can repeat itself over and over again, and we're experiencing that all the time. We have the same relationships turn up, we have the same business problems show up, we have the same money stuff show up over and over again. So it's almost like reality is just like repeating in different forms, repeating, and it's like we talked about the other day, you can't change what's happening in the manifested already. Your bank account is what your bank account is, your relationship is that. You have to create a whole new thing, and that doesn't mean with a new person or a new bank, go out and open a new bank account. You have to, every moment that's got the ability to change. And so it's creating a whole new bank account and a whole new relationship and a whole new job, if that's what you want. Reality has the ability, like, and we just talked about that, like the ability to shift in every single moment. And we can break that pattern. The only thing that's holding it in place, repeating is ourselves thinking it has to be the same thing over and over again.
Well, thinking that that's it, that's how limited we are, and that's what we've got to put up with. But I think that repeating stuff is there to kind of wake you up. It's like when you start going, wow, this is the same thing again, like Groundhog Day. It's kind of like that little spark of just kind of going, God, there has to be something more. That's just how it sort of starts when you start to question. Surely this is not it. Like, you know, I've seen other people experience other things. I've watched a movie that really sparked me. Like, I know there's something else possible. Like, that's how it starts. It's just follow that little breadcrumb, because that's the hint. Like, that's your infinite self kind of going, come on, you know, like, come and play. That's why. But what you were just saying too about the changing, you can't change the outside. I was just reminded of kind of like an analogy of like a movie, an actual movie screen. Like, so you go into a cinema to watch a movie, and you know that movie is being projected onto a big screen that you're watching. So it's kind of like trying to go up to the screen and change what's happening on the screen. Like you can't. Like it's the only thing that can change it is the projector. So the thing that's projecting the light out in the image, that's the only place that you could actually affect what's on that screen. So that's kind of like us as well. It's just like it has to come from inside us. Like we're the infinite energy that's animating this body, so it has to come from inside. So to change your relationship, to change your money circumstances, is like it has to come from inside you, because you're the projector of the light, whereas that's just the finished thing. You can't change it. Like it's fixed. You have to manifest a new form.
That's a really good analogy, actually. Movies show up all over the place, doesn't it? Like it's when you dive into the stuff, it's amazing how the movie industry sort of has developed itself almost as an ability to show us so many elements of the infinite when we really dive into it. Like we just go along to be entertained, but when you actually see how it's developed, it's like, oh my God, it's pointing yet again, like so many things in life are pointing as in the direction of the truth.
Well, like we've hidden clues for ourselves along our whole journey. That's all it is like we're the ones that created all this at the end of the day, like the people that show up that you interact with, teachers that come into your life and mentors. It's like on the infinite level, you've created these people to come into your space to wake you up to the next part of it, the story or the journey that you're going on. And so, a movie that you watch that kind of really twigs something with, it's like, well, you put that there for yourself, like to wake up in this journey. So pay attention to them.
Even these conversations, like it's not Nat and Mandy having these conversations, it's parts of you, whoever's watching right now, parts of you that wanted to hear these messages. If things are tweaking with you, then your infinite self has created this very movie right now to we're just actors in your movie.
We just look a little bit alike, but we're not actually related.
Right, a little bit related. Not to each other, you may not to the others.
I mean, on the infinite level, we're all part of the one thing, so we're just a character. But
just a character in the movie.
In the story, we're related.
In the storyline, we're actually related, yes. But yeah, that's it. It's sort of like, and then when you sort of really get that element and that concept, it's like there can be no credit or blame given. And John 𝙤𝙤 talks about this too. Is like you can't take credit for something, and you can't give blame for something because it's all you.
Yes.
So when people thank you for things, it's nice, definitely. But if they're doing sort of the whole praise thing of like, oh my God, you're amazing, and I love these messages or whatever gets said, it's like, but it wasn't us, it was you. Like you actually created this. So I can't take credit for that.
You have an appreciation, I guess, for your
that's
creation. It's not like what we've spoken about before, that positive or negative charge. Like, so you're having that really elated kind of response, like, oh my God, and your ego kind of gets a hold and that goes, yes, that was all me, that came from me, and you identify it as this limited self created that. And or you can go the other way, like you said, blame, like blaming somebody and putting them down in the pit sort of thing, like for supposedly doing something to you. When you're playing that game, that's the ego game. But like what you said, if somebody comes to you and expresses appreciation, it's like, well, I ultimately created that at the end of the day, so it is just appreciation for your own creativity. And it's nice to feel that feeling. It's just like, wow, that was really cool. But it's not a response.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll dive into that a lot more in another session, I think, because it's it definitely is worth talking about that credit and blame, because I think when you can really sort of see the truth of that game, it actually can relieve a lot of things as well. And just take you to that next level of infinite, like really to see your creations each day type thing. Not from people outside of you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes.
Oh, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that conversation. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yes.
Oh, very good. All right. Well,
let us know if anything. Yeah, I was going to say, let us know if anything sparked your interest today, or if you can relate to anything, or you have a cool story you want to share about any experience you might have had.
I'll just bring Doug's up. Because he'd written in. I think he might still be watching, perhaps. So Doug said, I had a wonderful conversation with Nat a few years ago. I said that I wanted to find my creativity, thinking something artistic like wood carving, etc. Nat presented me with the idea that I already am very creative in so many ways. Thank you, Nat, for the awareness. Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It's just like the people around you can remind you of these things. Like you already are all these things. And that's another conversation we'll have about the different traits.
Yes.
You see whatever you're observing in somebody else, whether you like it or you dislike it in somebody else, is actually you. They're parts of yourself that you like or don't like about yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing someone that's really artistic, standing on the stage, or like Rihanna, or someone who's like, oh, I could never do that. It's like, what is it about what she's doing, that creativity that she's expressing, and her true, authentic self on that stage at that moment? You have the ability to do that too. You may not want to do it on stage, and you may not want to have the ability to do it on stage, but you have it in some other form.
Yes.
And so that's what Doug pretty much is saying, is like he was observing creativity perhaps in other people instead of just owning it in himself. And when you can own that in yourself, you can then express it.
Yes. Yeah.
And he wrote a book after that. Yeah, actually, Judy just reminded me. Actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I just think maybe creativity can be another whole topic as well on its own, because I mean, my background is graphic design, so creativity is kind of like, you know, my language. So it's kind of, but I get so many people say to me, I'm not creative, I can't draw, I can't paint, as if that's the only expression of creativity. It's kind of like we've had that almost drilled into us that being creative means something like you draw, do something with your hands. It's kind of like when you sing. It's just like as if there's only like these really, you know, 4 areas that you can go into, and that's creative, but nothing else is creative. And so I always had these conversations with people when they say that. It's just like creativity is everything, but like coming up with solutions to problems, like someone that's in a corporate environment, managing a team of people, like.
Andy's frozen.
And trying to like everything. Oh, we dropped for a second.
Yeah,
that was very creative.
That was very creative because you talk really fast after that.
Yeah, just saying, there's a whole other topic we can dive into, but it's almost like that's the thing that kind of really like sparks me when people say, oh, I'm not creative. I'm just like, oh my God, are you kidding? Like, it's seriously, like, it's just everybody is creative. Like, you're creating this whole thing in front of you. It's like if you only knew how creative you actually were. So
I think that's awesome. Let's go down that line a little bit and let's find all the traits that we don't think we have, and let's identify where they are, because they're there for our use whenever we want them. 100%.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. It's exciting.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks very much for joining us. And tomorrow will be a little bit later because I've got to travel up to.
Okay.
I think I'm going north. Penang. Yes, so I've got to jump a flight earlier in the morning, and we'll be in Penang ready to start our next house sit. Yay! So I'll talk to you from up there, but it will be a bit later in the day. To get that sorted.
All right.
Groovy.
Excellent.
All right. So yes, let us know in the comments what you got from today, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
All right.
All righty. Stay infinite.
Bye.